The Audubon Christmas Bird Count. And so every year, the United States is broken up into sectors. So there's small sectors, maybe 10 square miles, and there's a group of people within each of those sectors that go out, first of all, from midnight till dawn, and they'll count all the owls. And the way you count owls is you listen. So, and there's people that's so wonderful. They know every owl sound, so they can identify all of the different owls that are out there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm not that quality at all. That is not what I can do. But then at dawn until 3, 4, 5 o'clock, depends on when the sun sets, the rest of us go out, and we're citizen scientists. And we go out and we count all the birds that we see in that sector on that day. And for our region, we're going to do New Year's Day, which is unusual. But we've chosen that because you need to do it between Christmas and New Year's. Mm-hmm. You pick one day that you're going to do your sector. Now, that doesn't mean that the bird's not going to fly from that sector to that sector the next day. So it's a snapshot. But what it does, it really gives an idea of what birds are in that area, and if there's anything untoward, strange, if there's a big influx of different birds, and it starts to give a snapshot of what's going on. So that global climate change, first of all, really affects birds. So a certain bird can live at a certain elevation. Why can that bird there? Because he's going to feed there. Mm-hmm. So what kind of food is there for that bird? And if that vegetation changes, then that bird can't live at that elevation anymore, and he's got to move out or he dies. So there's that. But here's some of the cool things that have come out of this Christmas bird count, and you can go ahead and Google this. But the Swainson hawk migrates from the Arctic Circle down to Argentina every year. And part of this bird count, they have hawk watch, and then they have the bird count. But the hawk watch is before the bird count, and that counts all of the Swainson hawks going down the flyways. So the flyways are where there's updrafts from the mountains that the birds can glide, because they're going down thousands of miles. That's like a 5,000 mile journey down to Argentina. They have to glide down there. So they count all these hawks, and they're overhead. They're a mile overhead, and these folks can stand there and they can tell the difference between a Swainson hawk, a red-tailed hawk, a red-shouldered hawk, an eagle, and so on and so forth. And what they found was there was a huge drop in the Swainson hawk population in the 1970s. Gigantic. And they said, what the heck's happening? Well, what they found out was that they were using DDT on the fields, the agricultural fields down in Argentina.
Makes sense.
And so they went down there and they started working with these folks, teaching them about the problems, and the Swainson hawk population rebounded. So, as you know, I'm involved a lot with native cavity nesting birds, and there's over 117 native cavity nesting birds in the United States, including owls, kestrels, hawks, all kinds of different native. But we focus on bluebirds and also smaller birds, the passerines, that are going to be using our nest boxes. So we count the bluebirds. We also count the chickadees and so on. And what we're seeing is chickadees are falling off. And why are chickadees falling off?
Is that a global warming thing?
No, you know what it is? It's a change in vegetation. So chickadee feeds its young exclusively 100% on caterpillars. And if they don't have caterpillars, they can't feed their young. And caterpillars are found mostly on oak trees. An oak tree supports over 550 species of insects, mammals, and birds. And when you think of caterpillars, you're thinking of butterflies. But most caterpillars are moths. And so there's all of these moths that put their eggs onto oak trees, their leaves, because that's where their caterpillars feed on. And then they become a moth, and then they feed on nectar. But there's that step in between where we have to have these moths. And so what we're finding is people aren't planting oak trees because they're clearing their land and they're putting in small trees. And when I give away trees, people want dogwoods, redbuds, small trees for a small yard. And so then all of a sudden you're eliminating that oak tree, but then you're eliminating that species, that chickadee. And when you do that, then you've got a hole in the environment. One blue jay can plant 2,000 acorns. One blue jay. And think about that. You've got 10 blue jays, they're going to plant 20,000. And so all of a sudden, you're losing that ability for these birds to spread seed, to eat insects, to control the environment. You know, back in the 1950s, Texas decided to get rid of all of its varmints, and they started killing coyotes like crazy. And they got them really good. They got rid of most of the coyotes. You know what happened?
But
the rabbit population exploded and ate all of their agricultural products.
See, it's all tied in.
It's a circle. It's a circle.
And even what we do in our individual yards then plays a difference.
Right. So Ted, I mean, if you can pan up and look at this tree right here in our yard, we planted that 12 years ago. That's a river birch. It's got a little bit of damage from the storm, and we're finally seeing it, and we got to go up and clean it out. But that tree is almost 50 feet tall now after 12 years. And I'm in a small yard. This is a little tiny yard of a 1/4 acre. And yet I'm able to put that tree and 42 other trees that are in the yard. Some of them are 80 feet tall, that pine tree back there.
Yeah.
So but my next door neighbor is having to mow her lawn today because she's got 100% grass. I have, like you said, I haven't mowed my grass this year.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any.
Right.
And so that makes my life simple. I don't have to deal with lawn care. I don't have to deal with a whole lot of stuff in the summer. And I have other pursuits that I can do.
And just you can see just these bird numbers and all. It is concerning. And you pointed out when you are planting trees during the year, and it's something to pay attention to.
Well, people want wildlife in their neighborhoods. They want to see birds. It's beautiful. It brings us joy. And why do we want to eliminate that joy? But we need to make sure that we're part of the solution and not part of the problem.